If you feel like you have a dead leg, and no matter how much effort you put into getting that thing to move, it just will not budge, well, there's a reason for that after a stroke. And if that's you, then this video is for you. Because in today's video, we're gonna go over why you can end up with like a dead leg after a stroke. And most importantly, things that you can start doing today to start waking that leg up so that you can feel more confident with your standing, your transfers, and most importantly, walking. If you're new to this channel, I'm Tara, I'm a neurologic physical therapist with over 20 years of experience helping people restore their mobility and their independence. And I've taken everything I've learned in those 20 plus years, and I'm currently helping hundreds of people in our Gold membership program learn how to set realistic goals and learn how to progress exercises appropriately, eliminating a lot of the overwhelm that occurs in between physical therapy sessions, but more importantly, giving them clarity where our members are reporting they're gaining more arm movement and gaining more confidence with their walking. To learn more about our membership program, to sign up, or to schedule a discovery call to talk to someone in person about our membership program, you can visit rehab-hq.com. But now to the topic of a dead leg. Now, a dead leg is really common in the early stages after a stroke, before you start to get what I talk a lot about on this channel is tone. But there's a small group of you where that dead leg kind of lingers for months after your stroke, and there is a reason for that. And most people think that that has to do with weakness, that an area of the brain that controls movement is directly impacted in causing that leg not to move. And in part that's true, but that's not the entire picture. Another feature of the brain that is really important with voluntary movement, and that's a part of the brain that kind of keeps like a map of the entire brain. And after a stroke, for some of you, it's more common in people that have had a stroke on the right side of their brain, in my experience. That map gets wiped out. Half of that map gets wiped out. So if you feel like disconnected from half of your body, or sometimes you don't even know where that half of your body is, and you're someone that you feel like your leg is just dead, or every time you walk it buckles, or without you even realizing it, you start to fall towards your weak side and someone else kind of has to catch you and prevent you from hitting the floor, that probably has less to do with true weakness and more to do with the fact that that part of the map is gone. So if you don't feel like there's anything over there, obviously you can send as much intention as you want. You can think about moving it, you can visualize moving it until your head hurts and it still won't move. Why? Because your brain does not believe that that thing exists. So there are two kind of big bucket treatment areas that we'll address, and those are bottom-up treatment and those are top-down treatments. Both are necessary. So an example of a top-down treatment would be you tell your arm to lift and you lift your arm. A bottom-up treatment would be like passive range of motion, right? Working the system from the bottom up. Because that map is missing, it is going to be much harder to use those top-down approaches. So we use more of the bottom-up approaches when we know that that map or your spatial awareness or body awareness is gone. Some of those I've talked about quite extensively on this channel. Passive range of motion would be one of those. If you are doing passive range of motion with your therapist, that is an active activity for you, meaning you should be looking at that limb, that arm, or that leg as your therapist is moving it every single rep, right? That's giving your eyes that feedback, and actually that is the best input to restoring that map is the images that are flashing on the back of our brain. Your brain is taking all of that data and trying to rebuild that map. So make sure that if you are in therapy and they're passively moving your leg, that you are very intentional about staying focused and watching what they're doing. But then in addition to that, we use tapping, a vibration plate. Now hear me very clearly on this. Little tiny discs that are very popular on social media right now, or at least on my social media feeds, are not going to cut it. When I say vibration, I mean full body vibration. sitting with your feet on a vibration plate. If you are able to, standing with your feet on a vibration plate, right? That sensory input, giving your brain lots of information. So we've talked about passive range of motion, talked about vibration, and then also you want to be doing some sort of activity that's combining bottom-up approaches and top-down approaches. So what is that? That would be like active assisted range of motion. So you're doing part of the work and maybe someone's helping you. Maybe you're doing like band assisted activities, something where you're having to think a little bit about the movement, but also you're getting some of that bottom up, meaning someone or something or some tool is helping you with that movement. And then the final category is weight bearing, preferably in standing. Why? Because it's innate. It can tap into some patterns that are kind of hardwired onto our brain. I've talked a lot about like synergy patterns and how they're kind of bad, but at this stage, they're actually very good. Remember, these are hardwired onto our brain for a reason. And the reason is when we're first born, patterns, these movement patterns are what actually help us to move. We extend and we roll from our side to our back. If we flex up, a baby will roll from their back to their stomach. Those are ingrained built-in patterns. And so similarly, when you stand up, it's kind of like your brain doesn't want you to hit the floor, so sometimes it will tap into these primitive patterns. Now, I know what you're thinking, every time I stand or weight bear, my leg just buckles on me. Well, that is true, but it is possible if you do it in the right way, and that's what we're gonna do now. So let me get a few things set up, and we'll dive into the exact progression of activities that can help to wake up the leg in standing. Now, this is an air splint. I absolutely love an air splint for the reason that I mentioned. I will put a link for this in the description below. It, one, somewhat keeps the leg straight. Your leg can still buckle a little bit in it, but you're not going to hit the floor. And two, remember that map I talked about? You're missing part of that map. Well, an air splint versus a knee immobilizer, which I also use in a lot of my videos, specifically for this purpose, I prefer the air splint. It's that even like pressure that you get down through the entire leg. Again, that we're tapping into that sensory input. It's giving your brain like more body awareness about where this leg is and that you have a leg, right? So I really prefer an air splint for this. And then you have to really sit on something that's a little bit higher up, especially if you already have difficulty standing, because now without being able to bend this leg, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to stand. But and most of you that are in this scenario that I'm describing, in most cases, you don't live alone and you probably have help around you. So I'm assuming that is the case. Do not do this alone. There's a very high risk of falling, which you probably already know if you are someone that's dealing with this. So do this with help, but and also you need help in most cases to get the air splint on. But have someone with you and try and sit up on something that's a little bit taller. I love these mat tables because they are height adjustable. They're relatively cheap. They fold. I will put a link for one in the description below. They are absolutely a must-have if you are someone that's had a stroke and you're doing a lot of your therapy at home on your own. A folding mat table is essential. These are height adjustable. Set it up a little bit higher to make it a little bit easier for you to stand. And then once you're up, you're gonna stand. I like these frames. They're cheap. You can just go to Home Depot. It's just PVC. I like it because versus a one-sided device where you're going to be just leaning on one hand, which I will just tell you in my experience, when you have this like loss of this map that I've been talking about throughout this video, for some reason, and I can't explain why, the second someone holds on to something in their right hand, the leg is more dead. You just have to trust me on that. Family members have also told me this with zero prompting. So I know I'm not the only one that's observed this. So definitely try and have something in front of you where you can get both hands on it. If you can't hold this hand, strap this hand to it or have a family member hold your hand on it. The other reason I like this versus a counter is it's not as stable as a counter, so you're going to be less likely to kind of lean on it, and you have more opportunity for some of those protective responses to come back in. So if you're safe and you have plenty of help, I prefer something that's less stable than a countertop. And then you're just going to do, and I'm going to move this out of the way so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. You're just going to do a weight shift. And if you feel that leg buckle, if you have a family member, make sure they're over here so they can stop you from falling that way. But even if I buckle, you can only really go so far in this air splint. Don't buy one of those fracture braces. You really need the one that I'm going to put in the link in the description below. It's made for neuro rehab. I was curious about the fracture ones, so I just bought one. They are not the same strength. So please do not buy one of those. Please buy the ones that are made for rehab. But then you're just going to do a weight shift and a heel lift. Weight shift, heel lift. Weight shift, heel lift. I would not go to a forward step until you can do it and you don't feel like this leg is, you're like sitting on the air splint basically. Stay at this point until you can do that without this leg buckling. Weight shift, heel lift, then forward step and back. Weight shift, heel lift, then forward step and back. And you wouldn't do this all at once. You would do the weight shift first, probably for a couple of weeks, every day. Consistency matters, especially when you're trying to rebuild that map. Then you would maybe do the heel lift for a couple weeks. If the leg starts to buckle, put the heel back down for a couple of weeks of just weight shift and heel lift, maybe longer. And you would want to get really good at that before you attempt taking a forward step. Again, the goal isn't necessarily to get you walking. The goal is to get you walking and be able to load this leg and have this leg respond appropriately to what we call the ground reaction force. The ground reaction force is the ground pushing up into your leg every time we load this leg. And when that that ground pushes up into your leg, if you don't think there's a leg there, you obviously aren't going to, or your brain's not going to do anything to fight that ground reaction force, right? So again, the goal is not necessarily to walk across a room. The goal is when you load this leg does not buckle. Okay, so stay at this level as long as you need to. Don't come out of the air splint too quickly. And hopefully that will help your brain to rebuild that side of the map that is missing. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Don't forget, if you feel like you are overwhelmed or you just have lack of direction in between your physical therapy sessions, that is why I created the Gold Membership Program. You will have less overwhelm, more clarity, and be able to make decisions independently, which is super valuable when you're doing your exercises every single day in between your physical therapy sessions. So to learn more about our membership programs, to sign up, or to talk to someone in person to see if our program is right for you, you can visit rehab-hq.com. I enjoyed spending time with you all today, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.